The world of music is now bigger than it's ever been before. Performers like Drake, Kanye, and BTS aren't just popular and talented, they have become icons with massive followings worldwide. None is clearer than Taylor Swift, whose name can be heard globally. In about 2 decades, Taylor has become one of the best-selling musicians in the world, whose influence can be felt in the music, pop culture, and political sphere. But how does a 14-year-old songwriter reach such a position? Welcome to Wealthy Takes, where we discuss the stories of the wealthiest and most influential people and how they made their fortune. Today, we'll explore the sudden rise of Taylor Swift in the music industry. Early life. Taylor Allison Swift was born on December 13, 1989 in Reading, Pennsylvania, to Scott and Andrea Swift. The family lived on a farm that grew Christmas trees. By all accounts, her childhood was normal. She attended Alvernia Montessori School for elementary school and attended Bible school during vacation. Even from this young age, Taylor was already fond of music as she regularly attended singing and karaoke contests around her hometown. By 9, she got interested in musical theatre and joined productions of the Berks Youth Theatre Academy. Her first appearance being a rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner when she was 11. For Taylor, this was her first step into becoming a superstar, as after, she took up a guitar and started writing her songs. She had a country music style, taking inspiration from performers like Shania Twain and the Dixie Chicks. Her music centered around themes of teenage isolation and romance. When she was 14 in 2004, she worked with Sony ATV as a songwriter and performer. Her talents were noticed by record executive Scott Borchetta, who signed her into his fledgling Big Machine label. She released her first single, Tim McGraw, in 2006 under his label. This was followed up shortly by her first studio album, Taylor Swift, which was released in October. Budding success. Taylor's debut proved to be a massive success, as she reached the top 5 of the US Billboard 200 and remained there for over 5 years. With such a huge success, it was unsurprising that she began touring across the country throughout 2006 and 2007 to promote her album. She even opened for Brad Paisley. Around this time, she also released her first 2 extended playlists, the Taylor Swift Holiday Collection and Beautiful Eyes, which netted her several awards. This included being the youngest performer to win the BMI Songwriter of the Year in 2007 and a nomination for Best New Artist at the 50th Grammy Awards. Shortly after, Taylor followed this success with her second album, Fearless, in 2008. This album leaned more into pop music, which allowed her to reach a larger audience without alienating her existing followers. Fearless sold more than 500,000 copies in its first week and topped the charts on the Billboard 200 chart. Songs such as You Belong With Me and Love Story were among the most popular, gaining 4 million paid downloads. Taylor spent the next year touring across the US until award season, when Fearless won Country Album of the Year, and her music video You Belong With Me won Best Female Video at the MTV Music Video Awards. This created an infamous moment where Kanye West protested the award and insisted that it should have gone to Beyoncé. Later, as Beyoncé won her own anyway, she invited Taylor on stage to share the moment with her. This moment helped mark her as someone on par with major players in the music scene. In the CMA Awards, she won in 4 categories, including being the youngest ever CMA Entertainer of the Year. The Grammy Awards were no different, and she won 4 awards, including Best Country Song, Best Country Album, and the top prize of Album of the Year. Transition from country. At the turn of the decade, Taylor started strong with her cinematic debut in the movie Valentine's Day. Here, she helped create a song for the soundtrack called Today Was a Fairy Tale. She followed by announcing her next album, Speak Now, on July 20th. This will be released on October 2009. The album was famous for its allusions to Taylor's love life, including her relationships with John Mayer, Joe Jonas, and Taylor Lautner. The album allowed Taylor to net another CMA Entertainer of the Year and a Grammy for Best Country Solo Performance for her song Mean. This was followed by a global tour that would span across 18 countries for over a year. Shortly after, Taylor would release her next playlist, Red. There was another shift in her music style. Taylor adopted a bolder, more pop-rock style while she seemed to deepen the perspective on the idea, moving beyond infatuation and high school romance. This tied in with her own growing maturity and success. This album's debut became one of the highest sales in the last decade, selling more than 1.2 million copies in just a week. Her next album was named 1989 after the year of her birth and released in 2014. This album marked the trend of Taylor moving away from country and experimenting with different styles. It featured electronic dance music and was widely considered her first pop album. This was followed by another movie role, this time in The Giver, a film adaptation of Lewis Lowry's dystopian work. Scandals and influence. To reach the heights that Taylor Swift obtained, she ended up ruffling a few feathers. One major scandal was the publicized trial between Taylor Swift and radio show host David Mueller. David sued her as well as her promoter and mother for false accusations of sexual harassment in 2013. Taylor and her associates countersued and managed to win the trial, which served as the inspiration for her hit song Look What You Made Me Do. Her next controversy was perhaps the most impactful. After leaving Big Machine in 2018, Taylor signed up with Republic Records and Universal Music Group. However, her previous label owned the master recordings of her previous albums, which they sold, something she did not approve of, as she had wanted to acquire the master tapes. This meant that Taylor would not have ownership of her previous songs. This controversy carried over well into 2020, when Taylor eventually began re-recording these albums so that she could sell them independently. While that was happening, Taylor released her 7th album, Lover, and received another film role, the infamous Cats movie in 2019 and then Miss Americana, a documentary about herself in 2020. The next album came out in 2020 and was titled Folklore, which departed from her usual pop format yet again. Evermore, the sister album of Folklore, also departed from this style, going for a synth-pop feeling. The pandemic caused a huge interruption into Taylor's music career, leaving everyone stuck at home until 2023 when she announced a new concert tour. This was greeted with huge fanfare, but also with disappointment, as Ticketmaster experienced issues with sales, causing multiple cancellations and price increases. Taylor did not hesitate to call them out for it. Despite that, her concerts proved to be a smashing success, so much so that there were multiple reported phenomena. The first one is her effect on the economy. With her Eras tour coming right off the pandemic, many people were eager to go out and see her. So many people came out that it boosted the tourism industry by an estimated $1.6 billion. At the same time, places the concerts were held at experienced increased inflation as so many people showed up there. While most experts agree that this is only temporary, others have joked that our economy is now being held up solely by celebrities like Taylor Swift, Beyoncé, and Mr. Beast. It certainly wouldn't be surprising, as fans have been willing to pay ticket prices far above market value or even travel to multiple countries just to catch her concert. By the end of the year, Taylor was named Time Magazine's Person of the Year and officially became a billionaire with a net worth of around $1.1 billion. She also formed half of America's latest power couple after starting a relationship with American football player Travis Kelce. 2024 proved to be even crazier for Taylor, as she found herself facing fire from multiple conservative politicians. These accusations came from Taylor tweeting to her followers and encouraging them to vote in the upcoming election. It was estimated that nearly 40,000 new voters registered as a result of that tweet, many in support of Joe Biden. This led some pundits to accuse Taylor of using her fame for political gain. Some theorists even went as far as to claim she's a government sleeper agent.